Hello, fellow Whovians. Well, I'm continuing our look at the second Doctor's adventures with the Abominable Snowmen. Here we go. Professor Edward Travers, an anthropologist and explorer, is woken from his sleep when he hears the screams of his companion. He is horrified to see a lumbering, hairy creature standing over his friend's lifeless body. The TARDIS lands in Tibet on the Himalayas. The Doctor talks about a monastery spell he has from a previous journey and then goes to explore by himself. He sees a large footprint, and, while he is examining it, a hairy creature passes behind him unnoticed. The Doctor goes back to the TARDIS to take the bell and advises Jamie and Victoria to stay in the TARDIS. The Doctor finds the two empty sleeping bags, the twisted remains of a rifle, and a dead man. Uh-oh. The Doctor arrives at Destin Monastery, which seems to be deserted. A group of men come in, and the Doctor is accused of having killed Professor Edward Travers' companion, based on the fact that the Doctor is carrying their sack. While the Doctor is locked in a cell, Professor Edward Travers tells him about his mission, finding the Yeti. It appears there have been some deaths recently, but the Professor says the Yeti cannot be the culprit because of its shy nature. Meanwhile, Jamie and Victoria decide to step outside. They find the big footprints all around the TARDIS. Jamie would like to obey the Doctor and go back to the TARDIS, but Victoria insists that, and they find a cave, in which they are soon trapped. Dun dun dun. The two try to find another exit and accidentally discover a chamber containing a pyramid of metal spheres. Suddenly, a Yeti moves the boulder that blocked the cave. Jamie tries to fight it with a scimitar, but the Yeti is too strong. Then Jamie causes some rocks to fall in it, and they are able to evade the Yeti and depart with one of the strange illuminated spheres. They head toward the monastery, where the Doctor is still being detained on Kersong's orders. He has, nevertheless, been able to pass on the Ganta to the friendly monk, Tonmi. Tonmi takes Abbot Songston, who is in communion with the master of the monastery, Padma Sambhava. Padma Sambhava knows the Doctor from his previous visit, and though he knows of the Doctor's wisdom, he fears he will intervene in the great plan. Tonmi is told to depart, his memory wiped of what he has heard, though given the instruction that the Doctor should be released unharmed. The Doctor has meanwhile been placed on trial and, as a test of whether he controls the Yeti, is tied to the doors of the monastery to lure the Yeti out. Travers has by now met Jamie and Victoria, who convince him the Doctor is no threat. The trio return to the monastery to see the Doctor freed on the Abbot's instructions. Shortly afterward, the Yeti advance in an arbitrative attack on the monastery, during which one of them is overpowered and rendered dormant. The Doctor deduces it is a robot, controlled by a missing spherical unit from its chest cavity. The awakened Yeti battles his way out of Destin, killing warrior monks and leaving Kersong angry at Thonmi opened the door to allow it to flee, albeit to avoid further bloodshed. Victoria and Thonmi are imprisoned for supposedly reviving the creature. The Abbot reports to Padma Sambhava that their plan is working, and the old master replies that the great intelligence is taking on corporeal form. To make way for the next phase, Padmasambhava orders all monks must leave the monastery. When the Doctor and Jamie reach the TARDIS, they find it guarded by another Yeti, but it is inactive and takes the Doctor out its control sphere, which then returns to life. Jamie prevents it from re-entering the dormant Yeti by lodging a rock in the open chest cavity. They head back to the monastery, where the Doctor forges an alliance with Kersong, based on the need to enable the monks to stay at the monastery. Realizing the monks would not leave peacefully, Songston opened the gates of the monastery to more Yeti. Victoria has escaped and ventured alone to the inner sanctum of the monastery, where she finds Padmasambhava. Victoria realizes he is commanding the robots. He wipes her mind of their meeting and summons more Yeti to attack. The Doctor helps Victoria recover from her trance-like state and listens to Travers, who is recovering his senses, and explains about the cave and the pyramid. The Doctor pieces together the nature of the threat, while Travers recalls that Songston was in the cave too. It's clear Songston is the link between the Yeti and the monastery. In the inner sanctum, Songston has bowed to the will of the great intelligence and slays Kersong. The Doctor and his friends arrive and overpower Songston, realizing he has been entranced. Songston is bound and returned to the other monks, and the violence of his manner persuades them that he is the threat to Destin. The Doctor tells the monks to flee so that he could defeat the intelligence. With Jamie, Victoria, and Thonmi, he plans to destroy the equipment the intelligence is using through Padmasambhava to control the robotic Yeti. They venture to the inner sanctum, where the Doctor distracts the being while Thami and Jean would destroy the equipment used to relay instructions to the Yeti. Destroying a further pyramid of spheres expels the intelligence, and, left at peace, Padmasava dies. With the danger over, the travelers depart. Travers accompanies them up the mountain, and his belief in the real Yeti is renewed when he spots one. He trudges off to investigate as the TARDIS departs. Whew, wow, that was a lot of heavy stuff going on there, huh? Anyway, let's look at some production elements of this story. The Great Intelligence, the Yeti, and Professor Travers return in the Web of Fear and in the spin-off video Downtime. Travers is also mentioned in the 1968 serial The Invasion. According to the DVD release, the latter serial was intended to include the character, yet due to the unavailability of actor Jack Watling, a new character, Professor Watkins, was created instead. According to the radio drama Golden Age, Torchwood India collected the Yeti spheres. The Abominable Snowmen proved to be popular with viewers, which pleased the producers enough that they soon brought the monsters back in the Web of Fear, and intending a third story in the next season until falling out with the production over the Dominators. This was partly an effort to provide a new signature enemy for the series to replace the Daleks. At the time of production, Dalek creator Terry Nation was trying to create an American television show based around the Daleks, and refused to grant the show permission to use the Daleks during this period. The Yeti would appear once more in The Five Doctors. The Great Intelligence appeared, without the Yeti, in 2012's The Snowmen, and 2013's The Bells of St. John and The Name of the Doctor. All episodes except for episode 2 are missing. The North Wales Mountain Pass and Anne Francon doubled as Tibet for the filming of this serial. Filming was done there from September 4th to September 9th, 1967. According to Jack Watling, one of the actors playing the Yeti fell hundreds of feet during filming and was feared dead, but was merely inebriated and fortunately cushioned by the foam rubber inside the costume. Whew! The character Professor Travers is played by Jack Watling, the father of actress Deborah Watling, who plays Victoria. Norman Jones later played Major Baker in Doctor Who and the Solarians, and Hieronymus in The Mask of Mandragora. Rappel Chen is played by David Barron, often said to be the playwright Harold Pinter under his stage name. Pinter has since denied this rumor. David Barron was indeed Pinter's name for the purposes of equity, the British Actors Union, but he had relinquished it by the time the serial was produced. So, yeah, pretty interesting story, and hey, we get the direction of both the Great Intelligence and the Yeti, so that's pretty good. So, overall, I give The Abominable Snowmen 3 sonic screwdrivers out of 5. Well, join me next week as we meet the Ice Warriors. So, until then, this is Hubie and Queen saying, "Oh my giddy aunt, when I say run, run, I have versatility of neutron flow. Would you like a jelly baby? Fantastic. Allons-y, Geronimo! Bow ties are cool, fezzes are cool, and Stetsons are cool."